This is what I'm up to today. Someone had asked me, what are you going to do to hold your intake in place so it doesn't flop around? So I printed this. No, I haven't printed it yet, but I made this adapter that is going to mount somewhere to help keep it in place. He's been outside for 10 minutes. Now I come outside to get him. And now he's like, you know what? I'm gonna take a dump now before I come in. Right, Tomcats? Starting off this video by saying this is the first time, and I don't know how long, that the Jeep has been on its own rims and tires. I can't even remember when. Things are getting closer, but there's still lots to do. Lots of little things and a few larger things. But over the next couple weeks, I'm hoping to tackle all these little jobs and then start doing some testing, like actual drive testing. So first off, earlier in the video, I 3D printed this piece right here. It's flexible because someone in the comments in one of the videos that says, how are you going to prevent that from wobbling along? Well, 3D print it. It's gonna go right about here. Zip tie to the brace. It's flexible. If it breaks, I'll just 3D print another one. Looks like my measurements are wrong. Yeah, that's what happens when it's cold and snow and you're too lazy to go outside and take a measurement, but easy enough. The program is easy to make changes, so I just made some changes, got a new one printing. It's probably about 3/8, probably a little more than 3/8 of an inch bigger, so it should fit up pretty easy. The other project I'm going to work on is I got this universal 6-gang universal switch panel, and trying to think about where I could put it. I'm hoping to utilize the bracket because it fits inside here, and hopefully put the switch panel box in there. That's what the game plan is. By doing that, that'll allow me to get rid of a lot of this wiring and fix that mess up. That'll help clean her up a little bit. See all these bolts come free. Oh yeah, they're not gonna come. Holy. Let's switch it up. Apparently the Milwaukee ratchet doesn't have enough juice. So to my dismay, it kind of sits right in the middle there. So I gotta probably use this one in that leg that comes down there, and then probably chop it off, come across, and then up. We'll see. Inches. So I just need to tack weld that right on the edge. So I just got her tacked up there. Just want to make sure she'll fit. Looks like it's a go. Before I invest any more work, I need to test fit it and make sure the hood will close. I just have a concern about this piece towards the end here. All right, I got everything tucked inside. Yeah, it'll close. Got a rub mark there from something. After paying a little visit to the sandblaster, turned out all right. Let's get this ready for powder coating. All right, gonna do what some people say. Put the part in and bake it. She's nice and toasty and warm, that's for sure. There's the bracket all powder coated up. Since I got the 3D printer fired up as well, I just got the heater hoses zip tied there, but that's not ideally what I want. So, took some measurements and I'm going to 3D print and design some hose clips to go there, and also for the transmission coolant lines on the other side. You know, with this COVID crisis with no end in sight, you might as well use the time while you're off, learn a new skill, do something, reinvent yourself. And that's why I've been taking this time to work on my Jeep. I've taken the time to learn how to 3D print and design, to start making my own parts, something I talked about for a long time, and I'm finally doing. This is the time, because once, you know, people get back to work, it gets harder to try to do things, harder to try to do new things. So use your time wisely if you're off.
Are you doing what Tomcat does best? Cuddling on the couch with his human? Is that what you're doing, Mr. Toms? Some butt scratches? Is that what you like? Oh yeah, you like all the attention you can get, don't you, Mr. Toms? Don't you?
Starting my design, starting off with 2 circles. So I just created my little half moon shape, and I'll do the same with that one. So I got my piece right there. Basically what it is 3/4 of the hose will hopefully clip in there. And I took it and loaded it up on the program, sent it over to the 3D printer. And now the 3D printer's just started. Tomcats, is this the life we live? And you cuddled up to your human all the time? Is this what you do? All the time? And you like having your human home, don't you? And you could steal his heat all day long. Isn't that right, Mr. Tomcats? You're shedding a lot. I know. So you guys just saw these parts I 3D printed. Already got one set on the heater lines right there. Looking good, looking good. And the other one is for the transmission line. As you can see, working out all right. That's the benefits to having a 3D printer. Now, of course, having a 3D printer means you got to be able to learn how to design too, or rely on other things that people have made. But I took the time, like I said, during this time off, to learn how to do some basic stuff. But it's definitely coming in handy. What do you guys think? Now, last night, I 3D printed this to fit, right? See right there, fits on nice. I should put the hose clamp on perhaps, right? Let's get our box mounted up here. Got it all bolted up. Gonna have to make some changes to the end of this cord with that little eyelid there. And this red wire, says in the instructions, goes to accessory, but must be ignition on. Got the ground, which I'm going to run right down there. Really curious why they put a small battery terminal on there. Oh, it'll work, it'll stretch. Gonna put a new end on this. Got all corroded from being on the battery. Gonna run this one down. And the big one. Put that on. These snap-on crimpers are probably the best ones I've ever owned. I need to perform surgery on this one. Start stripping this down, starting off fresh. Fill that right up full of solder. And then hold it there till it cools. Well, it passed the tug test. I have the battery disconnected too, in case you guys didn't see that. I'm hoping that there will be enough room. So now I need an ignition on source, and I believe that wire should be it with my favorite tool, the power probe. We're about to find out. If I turn the ignition on, that thing should beep. Verification is correct. 12 volts that. Connected to this wire that connects to the box, and that thing will power up. So now with that plugged in, I got the power probe. If I turn the ignition on and start pressing buttons here, like that one right there, that I think I got on number 1, I should start seeing voltage there. We'll find out right away. Okay, it lit up. 3 are green. 3 are like yellow. So if this should be number 1. Yeah. Right? And then number 2. Why am I saying volts there? Okay. Must have been tripped. Oh, that's why, because those ones are on. There we go. That makes sense now. I'm picking up what you're laying down. And of course, number 3. So that makes sense then. Green and yellow. That's all wired up, and then I gotta start dealing with the mess with putting the lights back in there, everything else. So I just finished live streaming. Brought my laptop out to live stream with the webcam. What a fail. This laptop is too old now. But it's pissing rain outside. Not that I'm against it raining, but everything's so saturated with moisture right now. Fuck, I hope my basement doesn't flood.
Well, Mr. Tomcats, I know this morning you puked up a hairball when I was still sleeping. However, I have not been able to locate it yet. Are you gonna give me the coordinates where you puked up the hairball? Tomcats, I heard you hacking. Don't pretend to be sleeping and ignore me, Tomcats.
So now comes the fun part. Gotta remove that wipers, remove the cowl, Gonna start running the wiring because it's all hanging over the edge right there. Then I gotta take apart the center console. That's where the old switches were. I gotta design something to 3D print and then mount my new switch box there. And I gotta remove all the wiring. Some of the wiring's hanging down here. So, got quite a bit of work ahead of me yet. So I think I got all the screws out. Question is, how easy does it want to come out? I think we got her. Carefully lift her up. Set it on the roof. That's all the wire that I gutted out, and some of it went in the garbage. I don't have that wire crimped yet. It's just put in there loosely, just for testing purposes. So I gutted out the wiring, reran it, used a nutsert in the frame there for my ground, a rubber grommet right there, run through. So theoretically now, if I turn the ignition on, grab this remote and press button number 1, those lights should turn on. Guess the button is pressed because the lights are on. Now pulling the crap, still got some more wiring. You can see some wiring hanging down. I gotta tear out and replace. This was remote control for the winch I hooked up years ago. Gutted that out because nowadays there's so much interference. Don't want it to start activating when I don't need it to. This is in-cab winch controls. Got my dash pulled out there where the old switch panel was, where the new one's gonna go in. So you can see right there, I'm gonna 3D print pieces to go in there, then come out, and this bracket is gonna go right there, and then the switch panel is gonna go in front. And that's how that's gonna operate. Then I wanna pull the hood off. It's next week too. Do the hood light mod to it. I got something planned I want to do, and since I have this piece off, it's a good opportunity. Easy just to pull the screws off there and pull it off from there, because if I move the screws from here, well, it's gonna make the paint peel. So I'm hoping, I'm hoping these Torxes are not messed up, but we'll soon find out. I think I've done enough. It's motherfucking beer time. I'm gonna have a dirty old Pilsner because I got lots of those. All right, motherfucking beer time. Good old greasy Pilsner. Shut her down. Oh, got to keep plugging away at all this small shit. Get it all taken care of so I can move on and start doing some fabrication on the bumpers and that. Get those on, and then a couple weeks from now, I'm hoping take this thing out for a rip. Hopefully be all smiles. Couple things. Really curious to see how this is going to be compared to when I had the Jeep supercharged a few years ago. And another big thing is, will I gain any fuel economy doing this? That's what I need to figure out in the future. Anyways, motherfucking beer time. If you guys have any questions or comments, post them below. Otherwise, I want to thank you guys for watching.